Hello, folks. It is Tuesday, December 19th. It's about 10 o'clock in the evening on the East Coast of the United States. I'm getting a late start today, but let me share my screen here and we'll get going. In this video, we're going to look at the charts of the Magnificent Seven. And of course, these are the tech stocks that have been contributing so much to the rally this year. This is the NASDAQ, obviously, in the daily time frame. We looked at this chart just yesterday, and we can see that, again, it's pushing up into what could be or likely is a resistance level at the upper median line extension of this Andrews pitchfork. We're overbought based on MACD, pushing up into the level of prior peaks in MACD. Energy very high. As I pointed out, price action very overextended. All three moving averages are extended to one another, and then the price is even further extended up above the 20. So very overbought market in the daily time frame. Here we are in the weekly time frame, and obviously today we pushed up into a new high. And this candle so far for this current week is impulsive, with price at or very close to, let's see, 16, yeah, within 2 points. So price is currently within 2 points of the high of this bar, which is impulsive, a bullish indication. High energy, that's an indication of high energy. MACD in bull mode on buy signal, pushing up towards the overbought level. Energy very elevated. NASDAQ monthly, again, new all-time high. This is Apple in the daily time frame. And first thing that I notice in this chart is that we're pushing up into the level of the prior high. This is back in July of 23, but have pulled back from that level. You know, this was the action last week. This was Friday with that big, extremely high bullish volume on Friday. And we've yet to get follow through. We haven't had follow through yet on that bullish volume, but price appears to be turning higher again. This is the accumulation distribution indicator. And we can see that investors are clearly accumulating the shares of Apple, one of the most widely held stocks. People like Apple. But something less than positive. What happened to Apple this week? Something happened to Apple this week. I'm drawing a blank on it. Apologize for that. MACD pushing up into the overbought level, energy very elevated. Did they had to stop selling in one of their markets? Anyway, something happened to Apple that was not positive this week. Apple in the weekly time frame, again, pushing up into that prior peak. Somewhat bullish bar so far. Obviously, resistance. This is the median line of a modified shift pitchfork, which is coincident with this prior peak. So at least 2 levels of resistance there. Oh, and a round number, not much overhead at 200. And so, round numbers tend to be just self-fulfilling support and resistance levels, because active traders, if they're not sure where to set their stops and buy orders, quite often they'll pick a round number. And so wouldn't be surprising to see that 200 is acting somewhat as a round number and resistance in this case. MACD in bull mode on buy signal, energy very elevated. Google not pushing up to new highs. What else? obviously being accumulated based on accumulation distribution indicator, MACD down at the 0 level. So pretty flat in MACD. Wouldn't really call that as bull or bear mode. Energy is elevated, but in contrast to Apple, Google in this time frame at least is certainly not looking as bullish. We don't have the overextended moving averages or the price action. Let's look at the weekly. Well, again, we're not close to the previous all-time high back in late 21. Haven't reached the level even of this prior peak, pushing up towards that level. Appear to be finding support along the 10-week moving average. Got a ways to go in MACD before reaching this level of being overbought, but pretty close to the level of being overbought from the last couple of months. So again, Google not looking as bullish as some of the other are, well, as so far all we've looked at is Apple, but Google certainly not looking as bullish as Apple. This is Facebook or Meta. Obviously has broken out to new all-time highs. That was yesterday, and then a continuation today. Apparently ran into resistance today at the median line of this Andrews pitchfork and then pulled back a little bit from that level. Clearly being accumulated, bull mode on a buy signal, energy is elevated. So bullish action. Note that the 50-day moving average is well above, quite overextended from the 200-day moving average, and then price well extended above that. So we are getting into overbought price action here in the daily time frame. Weekly, we can see that we're not at the level of the prior all-time high, but pushing into this these peaks from, what is that? That's late 21. So that was September of 21. That was the previous all-time high. And then we got a couple of peaks on the way down, pushing back into that level currently. This in red, we've got a shift pitchfork, and we can see that this shift pitchfork has been doing a good job of showing us the support and resistance levels. Price this week pushing up through the resistance at that median line, and we'll see whether we pull back from that level or continue on higher. So again, being accumulated, overbought based on MACD, energy very elevated. Microsoft in the daily time frame got a ways to go to reach this prior high, so not as bullish as the other charts, but clearly under accumulation. Investors are accumulating shares of this stock, currently on a sell signal. And so I think this is the first of the stocks so far we've seen that is on a sell signal, still in bull mode, which suggests that the primary trend remains to the upside. Energy is elevated. So all of these stocks so far have had a big bullish buying on Friday of last week. And I think, was it Thursday? I'm pretty sure it was Thursday when Fed Chairman Powell did his pivot, if that's what you want to call it, that basically suggested or hinted at upcoming rate cuts. And of course, then they came out and we had the other talking heads, I think 2 so far, at least two, trying to pull back on that, kind of talk it back a little bit. It's like, yeah, well, maybe. But currently the market is expecting 6 rate cuts in 2024. That's not at all what I expect. I actually expect rates to go higher. Well, one of two things. Rates are going to go higher in 2024 because of the massive amount of debt instruments that they need to sell, or they will openly return to quantitative easing. So one of the two. In my opinion, they don't have any choice. So Microsoft weekly time frame. One of the interesting things, this is a cup and handle pattern, the cup with the green, and then this downward sloping price channel as the handle. And now clearly we've gotten a breakout from that level. If we look at the price target for that movement, we're looking at, well, we'll just call it 480. We'll round up and call it 480. So price target, pretty good ways up there. What's that? 480's another 120 points. So that's a big target for Microsoft. Clearly under accumulation, overbought based on MACD. So be careful. Energy is elevated. But again, this cup and handle pattern suggests a price target up at 480 points. Amazon in the daily time frame, pushing up through resistance at the upper median line extension of this shift pitchfork. And we can see that level has acted as resistance twice in the past. But it appears that yesterday we pushed above, or Amazon pushed above that level and sustained above that level today. Notice that the 3 moving averages are extended relative to one another, and now price is becoming extended relative to the 20-day moving average. So we are getting overbought. Obviously, investors are accumulating the share. MACD pushing up towards overbought levels. Energy very elevated. So bullish looking. Let's take a closer look here at MACD. Looks like we just got a new buy signal from MACD yesterday. So currently on a buy signal and a fresh buy signal. Here's Amazon in the weekly. Again, clearly under accumulation. Bull mode on a buy signal. Energy is elevated. Nowhere near the prior all-time highs, but pushed through the level of prior peaks, several prior peaks, and now appears to be pushing above resistance at the upper median line extension of this shift pitchfork. So bullish action there in Amazon in the weekly time frame. Tesla not looking so good. Clearly under accumulation, bull mode on buy signal, energy is elevated, but the price action pushing up into what clearly has been resistance at this blue dash line. That's the lower median line of this modified shift pitchfork. 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 points where it has clearly acted as resistance. Price was unable to overcome that level. Same thing yesterday. We can see yesterday's price bar, price pushed up into that level and then pulled back. Today made another challenge at that level and was unable to overcome it. So we'll see. And then we've also got resistance at the upper median line of this red shift pitchfork. So bull mode on buy signal, energy elevated. So that's Tesla in the daily, Tesla in the weekly, dealing with resistance from these median lines. Bull mode in MACD, looks like we just got a fresh buy signal here in the weekly time frame. Energy is elevated, and got, you know, a good ways to go, long ways to go, 60 points, more than well over 120 points, 140 points. Anyway, long way to go to reach the level of the prior all-time high. They've been picking on poor Elon recently. Elon's an interesting character. So anyway, NVIDIA obviously has been a hot stock. We can see this big gap. I'll draw it in, you know, just there. We can see, oops, big price gap. I'll stop putzing with it. Big price gap right there, and then all of this price action is above the level of that gap. That's what we refer to in technical analysis as a bullish offset. It's when price action is bullish enough that we get a big gap, and basically the stock just starts trading at a new higher level. And that's what we're seeing here. Price obviously pushing up into the level of these two prior highs, pushed up into that level yesterday and pulled back, obviously being accumulated. MACD in bull mode, looks like we just got a fresh buy signal in the last, whether it was Friday or yesterday, but fresh buy signal in MACD. Energy elevated. Weekly time frame, again, we can see dealing with resistance from these prior peaks. Not on a buy signal in MACD in this time frame, but still in bull mode, suggesting that the trend remains to the upside. Energy is elevated. So bullish action in the weekly time frame in NVIDIA. So that's the Magnificent Seven. What we're looking at now is the stocks in the NASDAQ that are above. We're going to look at the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day as an indication of when is it a good time to sell. If you're looking to take profits on your trading positions, move your trailing stops up for protection on longer term positions. But anyway, this is one of the ways we can look at when might we see price action top out and reverse. And so what we can see here in this 20-day moving average chart is that when price gets up to this level where we're currently at, not uncommon. Let me reset that. So, for example, if we look here, where price pushed up into this level, that's where the stocks above the 20-day moving average reached this peak. Coincidentally, that's where price topped out and then started pulling back. And that's the reason we're looking at this chart, is where might we see similar action. Let's back up just a touch. If we go there, the two time frames roughly in alignment, about in there. And so back in here, we can see again where stocks were peaking above their 20-day moving average, and price reached a peak at that level and pulled back. And so anyway, just something that you might choose to watch. another indication that this bull market could be getting long in the tooth, albeit it's the end of the year. Sentiment is very high. And so anyway, I suspect that we'll see the Santa Claus rally continue for a bit, even though price is overbought. So same thing, except these are stocks above the 50-day moving average. And again, as we get up into these levels, possible for price to reverse. Although the correlation is not as strong in the 50-day as what we were seeing in the 20-day. Here in the 200-day, a little bit better correlation, although what I've seen looking at these three charts in the past is that they actually a better indication for buy signals, that when we get down to these extreme lows, that's a pretty good point for going long if you're a active trader. So but anyway, just something to think about, something to consider when you're doing analysis on the stock markets. We looked at this chart several times recently. This is in the NASDAQ, companies that have purchased 5% or more of their outstanding shares over the last 12 months. And what we can see is that there's a very strong correlation between the price action in the lower panel and the buybacks, which is what we're looking at in this upper panel. These are companies buying back their shares, and they're doing so aggressively. $10 billion, $12 billion, we're getting some major corporations doing significant buybacks on their shares. In my opinion, this is the primary driver of the current bull market, the rally that we're seeing in the equity markets. That and the expectation that the Fed is going to start lowering interest rates in 2024, which again, that's not at all what I expect to see. So anyway, that's all I got for us in this video. I'll talk to you tomorrow, folks. Let me out of here.